Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. I'm here at a different time because why not? Time doesn't mean anything when you're out of work. So I figured I had a game night tonight, and after game night, I figured I'd have a talk. So I'm talking here with Paul, and Paul is the guy behind Project Naosis, this big old stack of goodies that I got here in my hand.
Whoa.
Yeah, you were on last time, and I apologize because I got so many talks, I forget what I back and what I don't back. You know what I mean? And you had just made a Twitter post that you backed my comic. And I was like, thanks, I backed yours. And then I looked and I didn't, but I thought I did. So I backed all in. You sent it all to me. You signed everything. And I stayed up till about 3 o'clock in the morning the other night. You know,
Nice.
I read about 3/4 of your stuff. And then I woke up, had my coffee, and finished. I got to say, man, the best thing about your comics, and I've been saying this, is it's no secret you like your Image comics, right? You're an Image comics kid.
So yes and no, right? So like I did read some of it, but I was never a big enthusiast as I am now. I definitely think I'm the biggest Image fan, like looking back now, than I was before. You know, my major influences is always Batman, you know? So like that was my main thing that got me into this stuff.
Cause I'm reading, like, you know, Asylum Comics, Image. You know, I definitely see it, but I've been telling people that your comic is, if you like early Image but with actual characters and writing and storytelling, then this is your stuff. Because
that's why recently, like I did, like, you know, it's really this last like 4 years, like I got into, you know, all of Rob Liefeld stuff. I got into all that stuff because people were recommending it to me because people were saying the same exact thing. They're like, dude, this is Image 90s. And I'm like,
you like Rob
yeah,
Liefeld?
that's my guy, dude. There's a picture of him and me on my Instagram of him holding that. And then he posted it a couple times too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's super cool. I met him a couple times. Hopefully we get him on a cover. We'll see how that goes.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I like Rob Liefeld. I like him. I'm still not a fan of his art or his characters, but I like him. He's very likable. He's very positive, and he's got to be the most enthusiastic comic book guy ever. You know, I've never met him, but you see him talking, you can't help but be like, yeah, I like this guy.
You see his art, you know it's Rob Liefeld. That's art,
right.
Man. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
If you look at some stuff, you know, everyone draws similar. Like the same way when I see Frank Miller's drawing, I'm like, oh, Frank Miller. And honestly, Rob Liefeld and Mark Silvestri is kind of like the same thing, you know? Like you see their art and you're like, oh, we know who that is. Yeah, you know, so like I really enjoy his art. I would love to see him draw Omega on a cover.
Oh, your head would explode.
Yeah. I think it's more likely than not, but we'll see. I'll keep bothering him. So, which I do with a lot of people because we want to make cool covers.
Well, that's what you got to do. You don't get what you don't ask for, you know. People got to be people got to like. You got to ask, you know,
and
don't be afraid
I want to get guys that do covers that do really well at conventions. And I've never seen, the only one that's like matched with his line, I would say, is when it's Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo together. Like otherwise, like I see these people like waiting for Rob, like they put a whole section for this guy to like wait for him. Like I see it, he comes, he does his thing. I think it's crazy. Super motivating. I like being motivated, and he's definitely one of the top guys even still, you know, so making those sales, and I want to make those sales.
So,
but anyways, you know, Project Naosis, you loved it, right? So you loved it, and now I need to know, you know, first, which one was your favorite book, and then second, who's your favorite character?
My favorite character, it's funny because I liked Hybrid.
Yeah.
Because but after reading this, I liked Omega.
Yeah, cool. Thanks.
You know, because I think your writing has grown with every issue. You know, the first couple of issues, it's just action. There's you know, it's just explosions, fighting.
Yeah,
guys head.
Michael Bay, man.
Yeah, it's a Michael Bay film, and then I think I don't know if it's what you planned or if it's your growth as a writer, but as you go on and on, you start giving us more. I don't mean to be mean, but the first issue or two, they were just people in different costumes. You didn't really get to see personalities because it's a firefight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But by this, you get to see all the characters. I'm trying not to get a glare because I beg and board everything. You get to see the characters. You get to learn a little bit. So this is set in the past. So this is this your 4-issue graphic novel. This just throws you in. This is like a little kid just getting thrown into the deep end of the pool.
Yeah, it's volume 1, gets you hooked. We're doing a prequel series, which is for the exact people like John that say, I want to know more. So we're giving you the origin of our main superhero, Omega, and a couple other characters alongside our villain, Crimson Pain. You don't get his origin, though. But I thought of a cool idea, which was, first, yes, how did Omega get his powers? You don't know. You know, he took a serum. He's on a big splash page in episode 0. But where was he? And then most importantly, where was he when Crimson Pain in episode 0 kills 90 million people?
Right.
And he was there.
And, Paul will tell you after I was done reading it, because I'm a pain in the ass kind of person, I sent him a big private message with a whole bunch of questions. And I wouldn't be asking any questions if I didn't care. And I was like, what about this character? Did this character do this because of this? I did the same thing with Tonic Ball when I read Saving the World. I sent him long, and it's funny because he would just give me a percentage, like 73. Like I figured out 73% of his story, and then at one point I was as high as 78%. Now I'm back down to 65. I veered off, but I just like that he doesn't respond to specific questions. He just tells me how close I am. But I do that because I like it. Some people I read their comics. They don't get it.
So like the greatest, even the greatest movies, right? Like, or great superhero movies, example, Infinity War or something like that. It starts with the action, right? Like you need to get hooked in. We're used to TikTok, scroll, and all that stuff. And even me personally, I love 80% action comic book because I'm in there for crazy visuals that, I can't see on TV, so I wanted to grasp that. I didn't want to give you too much. And volume 1 is basically, we're introducing characters, you're seeing their power showcased, and, you're figuring out the world. Volume 2, we're diving a lot deeper, and still it's going to be, these next 2 issues are insanity that I'm about to do. Next level fighting, they're going to fight. The best way to put it, is, I love the scene, I actually liked it. Like in Black Widow, when they were fighting on the aircraft, I thought that was cool. So I'm taking that little aspect, and Crimson Pain's going to be fighting them off aircrafts and stuff. So we're going to do some cool shit.
Yeah. What's your budget for special effects?
Exactly. $1 million.
Right. That's why I always thought comic books was the best medium for superheroes. It wasn't until, if you ask me, it wasn't until the last 15 years that they could do superhero movies that look good. Me growing up in the 60s and 70s and 80s, you didn't want to watch superheroes on TV. It looked like crap.
Yeah.
So there you go. You got an infinite budget in your brain.
And the art's really good. I try to work with great artists. I find people.
Your coloring is really good. Your coloring is outstanding.
So episode 0 was Brian Valenza, and now he's with Marvel full time and does his own stuff. And then on all of my other books is Prasad Rao. It's my bud. He just got picked up with DC, but he's still staying with us. That just shows how good our books are. And because honestly, he doesn't need to. But
it's because you probably pay right away. DC is notorious for he has got to wait a long time between checks.
yeah. And then I think it's more of like a. So just with me and Prasad, for example, like I barely give him notes, and like when it comes to the coloring, like he's so into the characters now that when I send it, it literally just comes out the way I want it, just from him reading the script. And it won't even sometimes say night or day. I let him choose that because if you're micromanaging too much, it could change the way things look. Now that I'm getting a better editor, there's certain things I change now. I definitely think episode 4 is the best book I've done. It is the latest thing I've done.
Well, I'll say every issue gets a little better.
Yeah.
Which is what you want.
Yeah, exactly. And, like you only could do certain things so many times. So that's why I gave you the combustum in the beginning. And now you're like, oh, these are good guys. And then you're going to volume 2 and you're like, wait, are these good guys? Are these guys who they are? Or like, who am I following? Who do I like? Who needs to live? And, you know, it's like classic, you know, HBO shows where I kill the shit out of people and they're dead forever. So like, we're just moving on. And Omega 2090 kind of was like, the prequel series was, it was an After Effect idea because I did episode 0 and then episode 1. I'm like, fuck, like I kind of need to go back kind of, you know, like, because I felt like there was something missing because Omega's going to start changing as a character and I didn't really establish who he was prior. So you're just like, oh, was he always this piece of shit, you know? And he wasn't a piece of shit. And you're going to see a 4-issue miniseries of like how he was and what changed him to be, you know, the ruthless leader he is now. And, you know, it definitely builds a lot. I love my characters too, you know, that definitely helps. And then, you know, we're just ready to roll, man. I'm trying to put out as many books as possible. Episode 5, Kickstarter pre-launch is live now. We're hopefully launching that before New York Comic Con. And then we're going from there. You know?
Yeah, I think, yeah, I was going to say, what year is it? 2090.
Just far enough where I could do cool sci-fi shit and things that we don't have in technology. But still, I could put you in like a Manhattan, for an example, and it's like, okay, they just dress different, kind of, you know? Right. So it's just like the tech needed to be upgraded. And that's what I love, too. Like, I love, you know, that sci-fi, cyberpunk technology aspect. I think that's definitely where we're even going as humans. So I think that's really cool. And everything, you know, in a lot of comic books, at least that I read, you know, it's always the alternate universe is the future, you know, or something else. Like, it's just like, you know, for example, Spider-Man, it's 2099 Spider-Man, or, you know, Batman, it's Batman Beyond, you know? So it's like, this is their own thing. You know, we're not, you know, looking at what things were in 2020 and, you know, we're going
But
forward.
That's just it. You set yourself up. Like, if you get more and more successful, you could make a 2050 comic.
Yeah. So like, you know, there's definitely, the same way I left, like, for example, from episode 0 to episode 1, there's a 2-year time gap, and then there's another 3-year jump. There's a lot of room that I have if I ever exactly, like, there's characters like how you said you like Hybrid. Let's say he died, which he's not, but let's say he did. There's 2 years where I can go show you cool missions if that is a popular character.
Well,
but
if I may pitch, I would be kind of interested in, because the enhanced, spoiler, the enhanced all get wiped out, like in the first issue. You know, main you could set a series back with like Odysseus and Gaia and all of these mythologically based who claim to be gods. I think that would be a pretty good one.
Yeah, shot. I wanted to do the Guild of Titans. I was writing that too, like who they were, kind of. I was getting some boys vibes with it, but the episode 6. So we have episode 5 is coming out. Episode 6. You will find out, you know, who Crimson Pain is and things like that, on where he was prior to, you know, 10 years, you know, before, you know, or 15, I think it was about 15 years before, and why he's this thing, you know, you don't even like, he's just,
you see, that's thing. The thing that's my big question that you can't answer because it would just be spoiling everything. But that was my big, and I also don't want to even say what my question is because I want you to read the comic and see if you have the same, you know what I mean? Even me asking the question, I think would be kind of spoiled. But I had a question that I asked Paul about Crimson Pain that Paul can't answer because that's just like, tell me the future of the story, Paul. You know what I mean? No, you don't do that.
Even when you find this part out, there's still a lot more that is going to be around that like everyone doesn't know the answers, right? The same way Russia sees us as enemies, we see enemies as Russia. Crimson Pain, for example, could be Russia, and, you know, these people are the United States. You know, they both have their views, and, you know, they're both still killing people, you know? So like, and it's like, who is the good guy? And we're definitely are making the good guys out of this. Like, the original idea for what Project Naosis is the last issue of what I would say the whole first thing is, you know, which is basically episode 35 was my original idea.
Oh, so you have an end planned.
It's not an end. It's basically the beginning. But if I dropped you off at like where episode 1 would have been episode 35, it would have just been, in my opinion, too much. Like, I pick up a lot of books like where they just drop you off in this world and, you know, everybody you know, has like this crazy name and this crazy backstory, and they're all doing these things, and all the technology super chaotic, and there's, you know, so it's like, I don't want to get you confused. Like, I also see it as a consumer. I want to make sure every 4 issues you could pick up on that new volume on that issue 1, and you get the gist of honestly everything that's going on. And as it grows to that 4th issue, you're like, okay, these are the characters. This is what's going on. You're kind of getting reestablished, but not reestablished on, you know, who's what and who the main players are.
That's such a, you know, that's one of comic books' biggest drawbacks is it's a hard barrier to entry.
Yeah.
You know, when you just happen to walk in the store or whatever, and you pick up number 7 out of 12. You're like, oh man, you know what I mean? So you got to bring people up to speed. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, you constantly have to, and that's why I'm doing like a bunch of stuff. We also have another, so the character that debuts in episode 4, I could pull him up. I actually posted on my Twitter, but the other day, but let me show you guys. There's this guy, you know, right here. His name is Voltage, Red Electricity. I think Red Electricity is so cool. He debuts in this. His partner debuts in the next episode, and oh my god, I forgot what my train of thought was going. Oh yeah, I have a one-shot that's already made. 28 pages done. Different artist, different art team. It's done. I'm gonna release it after episode 5. Like, I definitely think like after reading episode 4, you need episode 5 first before I give you something else. So constantly more stuff. There's constantly room for one-shots. Personally, Samuel, my artist, wants every character to have an origin story one-shot, but I think that's too much. Some things are better off like exactly how you're just thinking. What happened or what could be is a good interest level point too.
Yeah, as I said, I was telling Paul, when I read a comic, I always I play a game, whether the author knows it or not. I'm trying to beat the author. I'm trying to figure out where you're going, and I enjoy it when I lose, because that means the writer is doing a good job. If I can figure out your story, you know, who am I? I'm nobody. So I do that with everybody. You know, like if I'm not sending you a message, what's going on next? That means take it as you want. You know, but anyway. Not everything needs to be explained.
Not everything.
Not everything, but lots of things need to be explained. Otherwise, you know, you could just throw whatever you want. And I thought that was a big problem with Image. Was like I'm reading this now. Asylum 10-issue series. It's just an anthology. It's, you know, and it's like four pages of story, and it's in the middle of a story, but I didn't buy this back comic. You know what I mean? It's just throw 4 pages in. I don't know what's going on. I'm sure there's like a supplement comic, but yes, it has to make sense. It has to be connected, and that's what you do. Like I was showing this to my wife, because I keep saying like I'm big on storytelling. I said, don't read this, but could you tell me what's going on in the comic? And I forget which issue it was, but she was like, yeah, this. She didn't know your characters' names because she didn't read. But she goes, this guy's the good guy. He's doing this. You know, your storytelling was fine. You know, and that's how I tested it on my wife, who's not a comic book person. And I think that's important. And I think that's a skill in itself, that people think that they know how to do it, but it comes from reading a lot of comics.
Comes from reading a lot of comics, and I'm not afraid to rip everything up and completely remodel everything.
Oh, okay, that's good. And you said you work with an editor. That's pretty good.
I'm the editor.
Oh, you said you had a good editor, so I thought.
Yeah, me saying I'm finally getting good at it. You know.
I misunderstood what you were saying.
So I did a work with another company that they still haven't released the book. It's made, it's done, but I put myself as an editor for a reason too, is like, it also got me that job. I wrote and edited the same book, you know, like if you're hiring the people, you're basically the editor, you know? Yeah. So like, you know, do I have some buddies look through my grammar? Sure. You know, but at the same time, like when the script comes back in a sense of like, so I have the script, and then Samuel will send me the pages. I might look through it once or twice with the lines and inks and see how it lines up. But I go rewrite it again when I see it with the colors, because sometimes they add panels. Sometimes it looks different.
Absolutely.
And sometimes it doesn't.
A friend of mine came over while I was doing that. He said, what are you doing? I said, I'm rewriting the comic. He goes, oh, so the guy's going to redraw it? I said, no, you know, Renzo drew it, but Renzo is an artist. I'm a writer. We have different ways of seeing the world. So he changed a few things. He changed a few panels. He added a few panels. He did close-ups because a draw. So I couldn't use the script that I wrote. I had to change dialogue around it and change the way people say things. Yeah, that's a step.
Like we did in episode 5, their newest one that's going to come out, which are their Kickstarter pre-launch is live. We have 2 double page splashes and they're done very differently, you know? So like, I let him swing. He texted me and he's like, Paul, like, I'd really like to do this instead of what this is. And I'm like, cool, just do it. You know, like, or like, he's like, instead of the left page being a splash page, what if we line it on top and have the panels below it? I thought that was sick. And then he did it and it looked sick. I was just like, whatever, you know, I could have easily been like, no way, you know, like stick to my script.
No,
but
always listen to the artist. They see, you know, that's what they do. They see things more visually.
Yeah, he can see it a lot differently in the way it would read, and then I could just rewrite some spots. Maybe there's some more room that I could write something in. It'll be easier to me to rewrite it than him redraw it, you know. So
have you ever said no, I don't want to do that. Do it my way.
No.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think. Well, I don't work with your artist, but I Renzo, he'll send me something. And I'm like, yeah, that looks awesome. That's better than what I thought, man.
Like Samuel too is like super involved and like actually only reads the script as he's drawing it because he doesn't want to be spoiled.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, but he also gave me a great idea, and he's like, do you want to ever change their armors? And I'm like, no, you know, because I need their armor. Like they need their look, you know, like But he's like, what about small upgrades? Like he was like, for example, he was like hybrid. He's like, what if we get spiked knuckles on his fist? Like he starts upgrading his armor because he's always fighting hand to hand. I'm like, that sounds fucking cool. Do it. You know what I mean? Like, but like, you know, just go with it. And I'm down. And then it will work. And then,
but address it. If all of a sudden the characters look different,
yeah,
that'll confuse. So just have somebody else be like, oh, nice upgrades. Yeah.
Yeah. Like what he would do, like, for example, he's like tiny things, like just the hand, like he'll have spikes on the knuckles instead, like next time. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, but I was like, I don't need it now though. I'd love to do that, you know, in 4 issues or something, like just so we still have more the established look. Like, for example, even Omega 2090, as you saw, he has a purple suit in the Omega 2090, but it's the same suit, but then it's orange. I just thought because we actually did it in
more action figures.
Yeah. And then I got to put it in episode 2. He had both suits in the back, but he was taking apart the other suit for like parts. And I always like that too. Like I like that with Batman, that he always had different suits, you know. Exactly, like, different action figures.
Like I was talking like Iron Man. You know, the guy's inventing stuff. It would be kind of silly if if he didn't improve, you know what I mean? Like when like Spider-Man, Spider-Man's powers aren't in his suit, so I kind of like it. Or Superman doesn't need to change; he's perfect as is. You know what I mean? Like that's part of the character. But Iron Man, excuse me, Batman is always messing with stuff. So like you said, you know, Batman having like a camouflage suit because he knows where he's going, or you know, he's wearing his Arctic suit, or because it's going someplace cold. I love that stuff too.
I'll give you a thing that's not really a spoiler. It's a cool line, and I kind of wrote it the other day, but it's the truth though. It is the truth though, because you actually asked, you're like, why, you know, why is he Crimson, right? Like, why is he Crimson? Because he fucking wants them to know that he's coming. You know, like he wants to scare like nothing's scarier than somebody. He doesn't want to wear all black. He's not hiding. Well, he is speeding at you. Red.
The reason why, if you have a red Trans Am, you're paying more in insurance because the cops have paid attention to red. If you have a blue Trans Am and a red Trans Am, you pay different insurance rates.
Yeah.
You know, because red means notice me.
Yeah.
Why do you think girls wear, like, they get that hot red dress? You know, girls don't have that hot green dress. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right.
And I wanted it, and I'm also, and we're gonna have more villains. Like I like making new villains. Like we have in Volume 1, we have Vantage, who we're learning some more stuff about, and we have Rifter and Banshee, who I'm having a lot of fun with, who comes back. That if you don't see a fatality, they're not dead, and I want you to make sure, like like they have to fucking God of War, like rip their head off, and then they're not coming back. If you don't see a kill, assume they're alive.
Well, that's a comic book thing. Have you seen the body?
Yeah.
That's a standard comic book thing,
Because a lot of guys are like, oh, she's dead. And even at first, me too, I was like, oh, that was good enough. But then I thought about it too. And I was like, nah, she's still there. So like we're having a lot of fun with it. Banshee definitely amps it up. I definitely want to like add that new villain aspect. But this book, the next one that we're doing is definitely like I could finish Omega 2090 after this. The reason why we haven't went back to Omega 2090 right away is it only did, I think, about 2,900, and these do about 5,000 and then an extra 1,000, or some did an extra 4,000 on the other platform, So it's like the Project Naosis is definitely the seller.
Oh, so you don't have issue 3 and 4 ready to come out for
So it's Samuel drawing it. So Samuel did Omega 2091, and that's why he's on episode 2, because I loved the way he did everything with me so much. I'm like, oh, you're doing the thing with me. Like, we're doing it together now, like we got this, it clicked. Yeah, so we do have the next 2 issues. Like I have the scripts, one's 20 pages and one's 30 pages. We're supposed to do it right after we finish, and we have 6 pages left of episode 5, but I kind of want to leave it up to what everyone else wants versus just in a sense of like the fans. I've been honestly posting it online, and every time I do a vote, people are choosing to keep going on Project Naosis and finish out the volume before we go back to it. So,
okay.
Yeah, I know. And so for some people really, but it's just.
Well, I'm like at 2090 because it's more character driven than
yeah,
story.
yeah. It gets even crazier.
That's what I like.
There's for people that and I really want to do it. It all matters, but without it's not really a spoil. I don't have it, but there's these monsters that come out at the end, and you're like, they're the craziest thing. That it's always like a different level, and it's the first like villain he's fighting, but they're these monster henchmen, which is super cool. But I probably will. I was thinking about, so for the 10th Kickstarter I'll ever do, so the next one's gonna be the 9th. The 10th Kickstarter, I wanted to do something big. I didn't want to do like a one shot. I might do a one shot with Omega 2090, so you can order 2 separate books at the same time. That was something I was thinking. Definitely want to mix it up and see what sticks.
Also, I was impressed when we first started. You go to every convention in the world practically, and you make yourself a convention, and you're selling books at conventions.
Yeah, that's where I make all my money.
I was gonna say that's your big thing, and then crowdfunding was something that you got to like after, right? You started out at conventions, and then
I did 2 books, and then I did Kickstarter. I released episode 1 at San Diego Comic-Con in 2020, and then after I did Kickstarter for the same book, but I didn't know what it was. I just assumed like, because the art was good, like that I would make like $50,000, because I saw certain books doing 20,000 and the art wasn't good. And I was like, oh, mine's going to fucking rip, and it didn't. We've been scaling, but we've always been increasing. I definitely make double or triple, at one convention of what I do on a Kickstarter. But, like this weekend, I'm trying to pull it up so I don't butcher it, because I butchered on the last one. Baltimore Comic-Con this weekend, booth D13 in Artist Alley. We have tons of cool shit. We have episode 4s, trades, all that good stuff. And then New York Comic-Con next month on the 17th, I think. I'll be there for 5 days every day, and then I'm taking a break for a little bit. I also do some pop-ups, like I'm doing one in Long Island actually in 2 weeks, and then I also have Babylon, I think it is.
Oh, that's not too far from me. Let me know when you're in town.
Yeah, it's at I think it's October. It's the Hot Flips. The Hot Flips do like pop-ups. So so they do the Hot Flips does like every other month or every couple months they do a little convention. They did one at this fire department place, and I did great. So, and it's fun, and they invite me there. It's like the first place I get like invited to where I don't have to pay to be there, which I pay for all these things. I do go to all these conventions, but it's putting out, tens of thousands of dollars, to hit this many conventions, and then hopefully once I get, on Marvel or DC, I get everything for free after, and then life's great. So that's the goal. That's the dream.
But this is your full-time job.
Yeah. I was running all the gyms, and then I ran 4 gyms, then I ran 1 gym, and then I just couldn't even do the 1 gym anymore. It's just 2 different switches. Like I tell people, like it's like the creative mind, and then the business manager mind is like very different, especially gyms to comic books, so it's like I have to turn a part off in my brain to turn on the other part. And I really when I was in charge of 11 of them, I didn't do anything for 8 months comic book wise, anything, so like it takes a lot of time. So I chose the one that makes me more happy, so which is comic books. Who doesn't love comic books?
I know. I that's all. That's my personality is comics. Oh, and I'm gonna do maybe Saturday night. I want to do like an hour show of like open invite. People just show up with 10 comics, like either slides or comics. Just talk about covers that you love, and just we'll all talk about comics. You get a little nostalgic. I'm already putting a list of 10 covers that I want to do.
Yeah, the main book that I read every single month is Spawn all the time.
Yeah, you're a big Spawn fan. Yeah,
I love Brett Booth,
and it's getting better and better, right?
Brett Booth's drawing it. You can't. It's one of the best drawn books. It's the cheapest book you can get, and it's great. I do dabble. Like I am picking up more Marvel now since they're doing a lot more number ones. Like I'm giving certain things a shot, just to see if I like it. I'm definitely happy to dive into the DC All In. I'm a big Scott Snyder fan, and I think him doing Batman crushes, and I can't wait to get every fucking single issue and then buy the trade after. I'm definitely going to give the All In Wonder Woman or Absolute Wonder Woman and Absolute Superman a chance. But if I don't like it, I'm not doing it. Like I pick up issues at number 1. If I don't like it, it's done. So like I might try for 2 or 3, but that's only if it's like I see hope. I need to be hooked in, and especially with characters like that are already established. Like it really should bring you in with action, in my opinion. Like I feel like that's why my books work. I feel like they're quick reads. You don't want to be bored to death with dialogue either. I want to be able to pick it up and be like, oh, this is easy to follow. Like I read some indie books even too recently, where it was just hard to follow. And like it was just too much. It was too much. Like nothing's like my story is complex, but it's the first issue is easy. There's a bad guy. He wants to kill the good guys. It's that simple. When I first sold that book at conventions, I was like, it's a villain comic. It's a villain comic. It's a villain comic. It's a villain comic. Like it's just keeping it simple as possible, to sell your product. And then of course, just with the Kickstarters and stuff, it's just about building a following. And luckily, I've been very lucky that it's been growing, and everyone from all sides of the comic book realm and TV realm, have been shouting out my books. So, and like giving me a lot of love for it, which is cool. And we're just trying to make some cool comics.
Logic says Todd McFarlane doesn't draw Spawn anymore. I don't think Todd's drawn Spawn in decades.
So he writes now on Gunslinger. He sometimes adds additional script to the other books because he has like 8 books out right now. But no, he doesn't draw it. He has really good artists that do some stuff, but I would pick some stuff up. It's definitely cool. As much as we love indie comics, you still got to support the stores because, they will
mainstream stuff. I still enjoy. Yeah, absolutely.
They will close without your support like any other place. Even with this economy, I went into one of my richer towns that are by me, and like 5 stores this month closed. Like you don't know how much it will be to like make or break getting a couple things instead of getting that trade paperback on Amazon, so like, and which I'm a verdict of too sometimes. I see a nice hardcover 50% off, it's just out my door the next day.
Yeah, but there's 2 local comic stores walking distance. I make a point.
What are they?
Like within walking distance from here, right over here.
What are they called?
One of them is just called Collectors Comics, and another one's called Tor.
Tor.
Tor, but the other one's collectors is by the
Tor,
supermarket.
it's like has like that wooden inside.
Yeah, Tor looks like it. They have like a lousy sign. I've driven past it like 3 times because I didn't notice it.
From the
But
outside, it looks like a restaurant kind of.
No, it looks like a little deli, and it's got like it almost looks like a drum.
My episode zeros are in there.
Oh, they got everything. I'd be surprised, but
Yeah.
you'd miss it because they got a small little sign on the side and little tiny windows that say Tor. But once I found it, you go in there, they got so much stuff. It's overwhelmed, and they know everything. But I like them because it's all back issues, and then the collectors. This guy constantly has a 50% sale, and he must buy collections from people because he's got good comics. I got a lot of old Justice Leagues, but like you said, every once in a while, my wife will go food shopping. I'm like, I'll go with you. You go to the food supermarket, I'll go into the comic book store. Come and get me when you're done. You know.
Yeah, I always
you
try
You got to help out the local comic book stores. You know, I love local. Did you ever work at a comic book store?
No, I did not.
It was fun. It was one of my favorite jobs.
The max I've ever done is I go to Fortress of Solitude, which is in Newark, and they let me sell my books there, and they don't take anything. They're my homies, and I help them sell Spawn or anything. I'll start pushing books on these people, like, you know, for them that's the closest I get. Jimmy Pomalotti, but I butchered that. He's writing a new miniseries. Todd's going all in, guns blazing.
Yeah.
You know, with all these Spawn books. Some are good, some are mid. But the majority of them are good, you know, and can't complain with that, you know. And
you know Joe Sontag? Joe Sontag, he has a comic, Reaper Destroyer.
Oh yeah. Me and him do Monday Spawn. I do it with him.
He does. He's talking about Spawn all the time. I mean, I'm so behind on Spawn. I collected it up to issue 63, and I need to catch up. I know it's at 300, so I'm waiting.
Yeah, Joe's really cool. I saw Joe doing those Spawn reviews, and I kept messaging him. I was like, dude, I need to be on your show. Like, it's the only book I read. So I did the last 2 weeks with him. We do Monday Spawn. Next week we're doing Scorched.
Cool. So you have hooked up with him. Good. He's a good guy.
Yeah. I've been on 3 panels already with the Spawn thing this last 3 weeks, and he's
too talented, man. He could write.
Yeah, he's super
draw,
cool.
He could play music. You know.
He's a really nice guy.
Cool, it's not fair how talented he is. Hey, Eric the Guapo, catch up. Yeah, I will. I like comic. I probably will like Gunslinger. So I'm getting way into westerns these days. I've been reading a lot of Jonah Hex and a lot of the DC westerns that I avoided as a kid. I'll tell you, man, this DC 70s westerns are some awesome comics, and I paid no attention to them when I was a kid. And I'm an old man adult, really, really enjoying them now.
See, that's the thing I want to do too. Like, but I see like a lot of them aren't that, like, it's hard to find. Like, I really want to dive into the old shit that sold the most. Like, I really didn't read like a lot of X-Men, and I didn't read, you know, a lot of classic like I read a lot of classic Batman, but like Nightfall and all that stuff. But there's certain things I missed, you know, that are like cult classic and stuff like that. That's the things I'm buying now, like older stuff. Just to see. Like, I bought all. Are
you buying them collected, or are you buying the old individual old floppy?
I buy collected. Like, I did Jack Kirby's New Gods. I did, you know. I forgot.
What do you like that?
I thought it was decent. You know.
Okay, I'm just surprised because a lot of, again, I consider you like a youngin. You know, I look at your little baby face. You know, and a lot of people don't like Jack Kirby anymore. You know. I was just curious. I'm glad you like it.
The reason why I'm reading it too is because he inspires the guys I am inspired from. You know, it's the same way as like I really want to read all Stan Lee shit too, with the X-Men and Avengers and stuff. It's just because like I don't want to, you know, like miss it. You know, like I just bought Grant Morrison's run. That was actually the omnibus. I bought that Batman omnibus that he did before the New 52 came out. And I loved it. I thought it was great. You know what I mean? So like, it's just like,
that I'm going to get Professor Pig and Damian Wayne and all that stuff.
Yeah, it was Damian's like debut, and I never read it. I fell into Damian because of Batman and Robin New 52. You know, so like, to read that now, it's also good to like see different perspective, and then also diving in back to the stuff like, of course, that I liked.
I'm a big Grant Morrison fan. I know he's weird and I know he's difficult, but I like his stuff. The only thing I got to get his most recent run on Green Lantern. That's the only thing by him I haven't read.
Swamp Thing, right? Alan Moore. I didn't read that. Everyone's
Oh,
like, read
classic.
that. Yeah. Like there's certain things.
Such a good comic.
And I didn't read Doomsday Clock. I think I read like 2 books. There's just certain things like I missed.
I didn't read Doomsday Clock either. I just wasn't interested in the Watchmen folding into the DC universe, so I didn't.
Yeah, I missed it, but it might be good. And that's what.
It's Jeff Johns. Jeff Johns is a good writer.
Yeah,
for years I thought Jeff Johns was like the DC's fixer. He just came in and he fixed all the continuity. He made logical choices, but he was an entertaining writer. Like his JS. Have you read his JSA? So good.
I read his new 52 Justice League. And then of course Geiger. I recently
Geiger's good. I'm enjoying Geiger.
And I actually read Geiger monthly and Red Coat monthly. And when I stopped by to see Jeff Johns and get an autograph, and I was like, I even told him, I was like, I don't get people's autographs, So I was like, I really like your stuff,
Oh, cool.
He was super cool.
Oh, good. I get nervous because I like the guy, and you want to hear people say, yeah, he was cool. I get nervous.
Sometimes I'm 20 seconds with these guys. Sometimes I'm like 20 minutes, depending on like if people are around and stuff. But I was quick because I wanted to leave my booth and say what up and be like, hey, here's Project Naosis. You know what I mean? So like hire me. And but at the same time, like as a fan, it's good to tell these guys
like that what I'm built off Clock was all right. What is disappointing is that DC did nothing with the direction. They did a lot of that. When Jeff Johns left, they dropped like he did the 3 Jokers, and then nobody referenced that after he left.
So I just reread the 3 Jokers, and I thought it was fantastic, dude.
Yeah, and then DC does nothing with it when he leaves.
I thought it was so cool, and
I thought for a long time I thought that DC should have made Jeff Johns the editor in chief. And had Jeff Johns run DC Comics, because let's face it, Jeff Johns doesn't need the money. He's making comics because he likes comics. You know what I mean? This is a guy who, like Mark Miller, doesn't need the money. He's making comics because he likes comics. So put him in charge of DC. I don't know if
Miller is another guy I'm extremely motivated from. Old Man Logan was the best. I saw him on your podcast. That was cool. He follows me on Twitter.
He's a cool guy. He loves and the thing about Mark Miller is you lose track of how many things he made. You know what I mean? Most great writers, you could go like, oh, Alan Moore, Swamp Thing, and Watchmen, but Mark Miller, he's got like 30 things that you're like, oh yeah, I forgot. Civil War was his. I forgot about that.
The thing I love the most, and I'm going to dive back to, and I'm just happy I remembered it because I'm going to order the trade now. I just read Nemesis from his newest run and from the first issue, and I thought it was fucking sick, dude. He was like biting this guy's throat out. I was like, this is on my alley, dude. I was like, we think the same.
And he's such a wholesome looking guy,
Yeah,
and you talk to him, and he's like, yeah, my daughter and I are having breakfast right now. I'll talk to you later. And then he's writing stories about, did you read the Chosen with him? Oh my God, that was
So I want to dive into more because rereading Old Man Logan 2, I reread it at C2E2, and it was just something I picked up, and I was like, dude, this is like, you forget how good this stuff was when you read it 20 years ago, and then when you read it again, you're like, wow, this is still better than the majority of the shit that's been out. It stands its time, man. I think he's super talented. Like I said, I'm really inspired by these guys.
Yeah.
And it's definitely good to look and be inspired and reach for that, because it shows you, what's possible. And that's what I want.
So what is like the most tell us like a comic or a story that people would be surprised that you like. You know what I mean? Like what people like, you like that?
I don't know. I feel like I'm very normal. I read my Spawn. I read I read my Daniel Warren Johnson, whatever he does. I'm just reading Do a Powerbomb right now. I think that guy's fantastic. I should have got him on a cover when he was a lot cheaper. And no, I don't think. I would say the craziest thing is I read Daniel Warren Johnson's Wonder Woman, and it's like a high recommendation for me, that one.
Well, just because I remember I was in Seattle visiting a friend, and we stopped at a comic book store, and I'm getting, my Fantastic Four, my Spider-Man, Thor, and then some like Hellboy, and then I got this comic called Strangers in Paradise, and my friend's wife is looking at it. She goes, "What is this?" I go, "It's about two lesbians that are picking out wallpaper and making their," and she goes, Is this for lesbians? I was like, well, lesbians could buy it, but I like this. It's one of my favorite comics. And she just thought that was the strangest thing. Like, for like the rest of my vacation out there, she was like talking to me like, you like this comic? I was like, here, read it. But you know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm talking about. Very uncharacteristic for me to like Strangers in Paradise because
there's no like I really like I say what I like, like I just start like I like art, and then if the artist is good, like I loved Sean Murphy's Batman that he did, the White Knight. I read the last arc that they did. So I bought his Zorro. I bought his other things, like it's just like usually that's how it works. If I really like something,
yeah, you become a fan of theirs and you look for their stuff.
Exactly. And I look for it. I don't really pick up random stuff. I do try those random number ones from different publishers, and none of them really resonate with me. And in a sense of like, oh, I'll keep buying this, like, and I see someone ask how old I am. I'm 27. What up?
Yeah.
27. And the only thing that I know,
I think most of my people in my circle are close to my age,
the first thing would be the Dark Knight, and the second thing would be the New 52, and then so on and so forth.
That's why I joke, because you got the age and you got that hustle. We're going to be working for Paul one day. Paul,
I can only hope that Marvel
said in 10 years
or the great Jeff Johns or Todd McFarlane give me a chance to prove myself, because I don't think they know. Like I go freaking hard, man. I even see it, like I never get sold at these conventions. I want to be sold at these conventions. I'd be impressed. But I really try to sell this stuff, and I felt like if I had Darth Vader at my table, I feel like I'd be making quadruple. You know what I mean? It would just be like, it would just make no sense on how to sell like these products, especially if it's someone like Spider-Man or something like that. Like, I know I can bring that to the next level if given the platform, which I'll earn. I'll eventually earn. I'll keep bothering these guys until they give me a job that I see them at all the cons. And trust me, I'm the first one to go up to these guys every single morning, because you got to be professional, man. And I'm trying to learn.
You said you're waiting for Batman to go into public domain, and then you're going to be doing some Batman stuff, right?
Yeah, I'm scared with the public domain, kind of.
Me too. I'm not touching it with a 10-foot pole, man.
Because I really want to do a Steamboat Willie Guns Blazer thing, and like it scares me. Like it's just like they'll take
man. I see
like my house will be gone, dude.
I see like people taking Mickey Mouse and making him a serial killer or Winnie the Pooh vampire, and I just find that to be I don't know. It's cheap. You know what I mean? Like.
So we did.
I'd rather make up my own characters.
For the next Kickstarter, it's almost there. We did one already, and I don't have them. We did a 1 of 100. I was originally going to do 3 different covers for it. It was Steamboat Willie and Crimson Pain. Steamboat Willie had the blasters, and he was firing off of Crimson Pain. We sold those in like a couple days, and we sold them for like $20. But I'm going to do one. We're going to do Omega, and then it's going to be like Steamboat Willie, like on his shoulders with like the blasters, like Rocket Raccoon, just as an exclusive cover. We'll see if it resonates. That's as far as I'm going, because, covers or whatever, but interiors, it's like, oh, look at this. Like when I actually had the Steamboat Willies, I kept some for San Diego Comic-Con, and 2 guys that worked at Disney bought it, and guys, my heart was racing, but then they were like, oh, we're hanging it up. We're like, we love this stuff. We love that he's in public domain. And I'm like, like you're putting it where?
They probably hate their bosses,
Yeah. They're like, look at this guy. He does it way better. And I'm just like, no, please don't. I'm not Mickey's the dictatorship, But yeah, I'd love to. That's the whole point. Like and people are actually coming up to me even at conventions like, oh, how did you do this? I just made a book and paid for it, and hoping to get more jobs out of it, just so I can like chill out completely, which is great. But I always build off my thing. I will never get rid of Project Naosis. I was offered money a bunch of times already for this thing, and I don't want it. I want it to be my own thing, that I could run my own business. And then, of course, the other ideas that we branch off with, like that ARM project Naosis, of course, I'm down to sell at 100%. But
what somebody offered to buy the intellectual property
percentage. This, I had 2 people offer me rights because they want to shop it around. I do not want anything to do with that shit until it's established. I could tell my story and go on from there. Like even without spoiling it, I had someone that has a big following, and they asked me to be part of it. Instead of being part of it, you got to learn how to repitch people. I'm making his own book with him, and we're going to hopefully release that in January, at least the pre-orders for it. It's the craziest shit. It's me, this mystery person that he needs to drop before I say it. And then Igor, who does a lot of the Ripperverse stuff, and he did one of the covers for me. You actually have one of the covers. It's with Voltage and Imperium and Omega and Hybrid. He did that cover, and we're doing a whole book together. So it should hopefully do really well.
Has nothing to do with Project Naosis. It's a whole new thing.
Oh, nah, it's like heaven and hell thing. Like it's very different. It's definitely, it's like, I don't know how to put it. It's so out there. It's like, it's a huge swing, you know. It's a huge swing of fun and destruction, and you know, I definitely think it'll hit. But,
cool.
We have a good backing for it. But yeah, I wouldn't want to do anything with Project Naosis until like I have my volumes, because I don't want anything to change on the way it needs to go, because the story is going to work, you know, like it's everything that you see in Project Naosis is building up to something, you know. It's like you're going to get a reward for each thing that you know. That's my website. We ship everything right to your door. I just shipped a bunch of stuff out today from people being online. Thanks for retweeting, everybody, because you know Twitter is my main source of how people just keep ordering my books, which is awesome.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, like I said, you got the drive. You know, you're at the conventions. You know, you're grinding. I like I keep saying, just remember me when you're running Marvel. Hey, that guy John was good to me. He was one of the first guys to reach out.
I would still, and that's another thing I think a lot of people are missing, even in mainstream. And like a great example is Scott Snyder. He's having this big launch. He's having Batman. I've seen this guy on like 30 shows already, you know, like doing stuff. Everyone should be talking about this stuff, even the stuff that's in Marvel. Like even if it's 10 views, 100 views, 1,000 views, like people see it. Like I'm starting to do YouTube now, and I have my following because I used to do video game stuff, but I just, you know, I'm posting and it gets a couple thousand views, and then it gets 1 sale, you know, it gets 2 sales, you know, so it's like all that stuff pays off, and people just want to see it on the phone first, you know.
Yeah. You know, Stanley is gone. We got to promote ourselves, you know, and talk positively and help each other out, because I don't like this constant dragging other people down. Doesn't make me look good. You know, I think it does the opposite.
Like for Mark Miller doing his podcast now, I think he's been doing it for like a year. That's what made me, after hearing one podcast, going, wait, let me buy Old Man Logan again. Let me look back into this stuff. And I've not regretted it. But what was the reminder? I saw him on my phone.
You're right.
You know, like pitching.
Right. At lunchtime at work, sit there and watch something, you know?
Yeah.
Marcus wants to know, do you do Heroes Con?
Is that the one in Nashville? I just talked to the head lady at Terrificon.
Terrificon's Connecticut, right?
Yeah. I was talking to Ron, who does Berserker, and then this nice lady came up that runs the conventions, and I was just talking to her about being a part of it. So hopefully that all works out. They told me they would hit me back with it, but I'm pretty sure I'm in. But it's just hopefully this year. I assume so. I assume I'm there. I was talking to the lady who runs it, so she was very nice.
Heroes Con, Marcus, I forget. Is that in Atlanta or is that
No, I think it's
in Charlotte, North Carolina. That's right.
Oh, North Carolina. Oh, okay, yeah. Nashville, dumb. I really recommend a Kickstarter called Fall of a Man, and no, it's not my Kickstarter.
Yeah, I just saw it on Twitter. It looks pretty good. Yeah.
Got to constantly promote.
You got to constantly promote. Yeah.
And you got to have this stuff and I was seeing that too. Like I don't try to put that much cliffhanger in these books because you will wait a long time. Like you might wait 3, and even me, it's like I'm putting out 3 or 4 a year, and that's still not enough, like you can lose people's interest very fast. So I really try to have that beginning, middle, end too with all these books.
I agree with you. Yeah. I was pretty impressed when I opened up this box, because it's one thing when you see an all-in bundle on Kickstarter, you're like, okay, then you open up the box, you see how many freaking comics actually came out of it.
I sent you 2 boxes.
Yeah.
Made it nice for John.
You did a good job. You asked me if I wanted them autographed and everything. I was like, thank you.
Because Indiegogo doesn't give you that thing. Kickstarter, I can ask any questions and it sends it to them. Unless you could do it Indiegogo, I don't know. But it so I texted you and I was like, hey, like, do you want these signed? And you're the only one that there's one other guy that I met in Long Island around your age that asked me to do the same signature, like inside the book.
Oh yeah. Inside. That's old school.
Yeah.
It's funny because, growing up, getting autographs on a comic book devalued a comic. So what they would do is, the old timers, they all knew it. You opened up, well, this doesn't have it, but you opened up the comic.
Yeah, and you signed on the bottom.
You sign it. Well, why?
But when he asked that to me,
but you signed, they had like a little white space on the bottom of the other. That's so. So I forget. Like every once in a while, I'll open up a comic. I'm like, oh, geez, this got Walt Simonson's autograph. This has a George President, because I forget because you don't see it on the cover. So yeah, I asked you to do it on the inside.
Because someone asked me to sign, and all the time it's like, okay, you want me to sign it? Boom, and I just sign right on the cover. Boom, sign right on the cover. And what do you
use? You use like a special marker or something, right?
I use Sharpies.
Oh, you use the Sharpie. Okay.
The Sharpie's instant. It's right away. I do silver or black.
There you go.
Yeah.
You signed on the inside. Yeah.
And don't be sleeping on my index pages. Don't be sleeping on them. They're nice, dude. These are nice index pages. Pete Carlson, he's my letterer. He does all the production on the books and makes some cool shit. Like I said, everyone that's involved, like I'm so blessed that they fucking.
Hey, you use good paper, good binding.
Oh yeah, I pay whatever for that because I charge, $10. And personally, a lot of people I know charge $20, $25. But at a convention, you can get $25 and you're getting a trade paperback of Venom signed by Ryan Stegman. You know what I mean? So that's who you're competing with. So like, it's about finding that right middle ground. And that's where I think I am.
Have you used Fund My Comic?
They actually just DM'd me to use their platform. I'm personally, I don't think I'm going back to Indiegogo for the second campaign. So I might try Fund My Comic after the Kickstarter, but my main following has been on Kickstarter. Like I've had big Indiegogos too. I had that one that did 5,000. But I don't know. I felt like the last one, like I only did like, I think it's at like, I might still do it on Indiegogo. I made like 560, 560, still 560, but extra on top. But I don't want to put it on 3 platforms. I feel like if I get to that third.
See, this is my Fund My Comic. I did 6,000. My first comic on Fund My Comic. That was my debut. I can't complain to that at all. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, better than me.
And then this is my Indiegogo. This I don't know if I spent my capital on Fund My Comic, but now I'm on Indiegogo. I'm not even at $300 yet.
But you're gonna hit the 5. And the thing with Indiegogo too is like mine ended, and I just got another $40 this week. And then, but the thing with mine, at least with the Indiegogos, and I leave them up, at least for now, because I don't really know how to close them. But they I just ship them out. I got all my inventory. You know what I mean? Like I got it. You guys order it, you get it.
Yeah. I'll be printing in the next couple of weeks, and then I'll ship whatever you want. You order it, you got it. Toyota.
And I don't do tester copies. How they come is how I send that shit. You know what I mean? Like if this came glossy, good. Like I don't be like, oh, I think it would look better, if this is how we're fucking sending these bitches out. You know what I mean? Like
this is also your 10th comic, so I think you know what you're asking for, and you're dealing with the same guy. I'm doing a tester copy for my first comic because what if I say the wrong thing? I don't know what I'm doing yet.
So So this is how crazy I am. So I printed episode 1, and they had an error in them, but now the new ones don't. That you had, they had some errors. I printed fucking 1,500 of them. You know what I mean? So like, I still had to sell them all. It was like little grammar things like that. But I didn't do. But that's what I'm saying. It is good to do what you're doing. That's what I'm saying, because you would have read the book and you would have been like, oh, I read the book and was like, fuck, like there's 1,500 I need to sell of these, but no one really. Some people notice, some people don't.
I noticed a few errors in other crowdfunded comics. One of them really bothered me. I'm like, how did you not catch this? But for the most part, Bill Williams, my letterer, is also fixing all my grammar and everything like that. He's been cleaning up.
I have one guy that looks over my grammar that's in comic books that makes sure I don't spell anything wrong. Because you read the script so many times, you sometimes actually read it and think it's what you're thinking in your brain, but it's actually your brain corrected it, not that.
Right.
I have my wife look at it. My brother is an English teacher. He looks at it one time.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah, and then I still, even if sometimes they change it, I might change it the way I like it, because writing to an intent is like, it's English isn't perfect in a sense of like how me and you are shooting shit right now. Like you don't want to sound too proper. Not every character.
Also, each character probably has a different manner of speech, and your English teacher brother corrected it because he's Shakespeare or whatever. But you're like, no, this guy's a dock worker. He doesn't speak like this.
Yeah,
so you fix it. But that's fine as long as you know it and you can justify it and explain it. But I'm talking. I saw some. Not your comics. I'm not talking about your, but I saw.
Oh, there's none in those, bro.
I saw
we sold
really
thousands.
Egregious misspellings and stuff like that really made me stop. I'm like, oh, jeez.
But you got to know, even at the end of the day, I pick up fucking an Image comic book. There's sometimes blurry panels and stuff like that, and clearly that's from the printing, But like they still sent them out.
You said that. I just saw that. I'm like, I can't read this. Yeah.
Yeah, there was one that was like the ink didn't work. It's like they didn't give a fuck, So like, it's just about knowing, like the strength of it, And we're changing
ads. I have goofy ads in my comic, because I'm trying to capture some Bronze Age look. So yes, I paid for ads, but I paid for ads for products that don't exist. You'll get it when you see the comic. It's I want to,
ads. No,
but you don't have any ads in your comic.
But no way. You would have to pay me. You would have to pay me an absurd amount.
It's hard to do, by Matthew. I'm answering Matthew's question because we're not on a set schedule. Like I'm going to put an ad for Project Naosis #5 in my comic, but then my comic might get delayed. His comic might get, it's not like Marvel and DC where they had to hit that monthly. So ads really don't work in this in this market.
No,
unless you want to advertise yourself.
This would work. You know what I mean?
Yes, because you're advertising yourself.
But at the same time, no, because like I don't know, I just don't like. For example, like there's guys that do great on Kickstarter, and then I see them at conventions and they make $400. You know what I mean? So like I do very low on Kickstarter, but like I said, I'm pumping out. Even at San Diego, I sold like 200 trade paperbacks. I sold. Like it's like that's 200 just trades. Like of just trade paperbacks, one thing that's $50. Like.
Oh, Matthew's asking, do you Google ads or Facebook ads? Do you pay for those kind of ads?
No, I don't do any of that Instagram stuff. I buy marketing things, and I'm trying to do different things. I think the best thing to do is, just promote yourself. I personally, like you said, you've never written before, and you did $6,000 on your first thing. It's because John has a following,
right? That
they're buying me. What John's doing.
They're buying me. And I feel like I'm taking that seriously. I want them to be happy with me. I don't want people not to like me. But
I'm coming from the reverse. I'm like, please buy my stuff so I can get you in. You have to understand, John's on board, but I'm on issue 9 now. And I just got John on board. Or like for example, like Eric July, he's giving me a lot of shout outs. I got him on book 8. Like on book 8, he noticed me. Same with Mark Miller. On book 8, he noticed me. Like it's like you got to just keep going, dude. And then the more it's just going to happen.
Mark Miller just backed my comic on issue 1. I by issue 8, I'm going to have like the president. You know, I'll have
Mm-hmm.
the people from the UN, because where do you go for Mark Millar in comic book world? But
Yeah,
that's what you
Mark.
got to do. You built Matthew. I know Matthew's asking because Matthew's got a Kickstarter now. And by the way, Matthew, tomorrow at 3:00, we're going to do a crowdfunding. If you want to come tomorrow and talk, you know, we're asking questions. You know, I'm a newbie. I got another guy who wants to get into it. So 3:00 tomorrow, Eastern Standard Time. It's just like a crowdfunding brain trust or whatever. So Matthew there. But what do you got to do? Right, Paul? The simple answer is nobody owes you anything. You got to, you're going out there busting your own chops and selling your own comics. And you got it. You like he says, you put your nose to your ground. You're a hustler. You know, you know good talent, and your stories are pretty good. What else do you want? But nobody knows that unless you don't go out and tell people that.
Yeah, and I personally, like, even when I talk to these guys, I really like try to, like, you know, get that connection, and you know, I'm just really trying to, you know, branch out, like, and see what's, you know, like a lot of these guys too, and of course I'm not even going to quote them, but there's a lot of big time guys that have read Project Naosis and told me they fucking love it, but I'm not going to put it on the back of the book, you know. So like me, you know, like those like things, like all of them like it, you know. I just want them to, I want it to be like a natural, you know, thing. But of course I'm down to send copies. Like Mark Miller, if you see this, I will send you a bunch of books for free, just so you read it. And then you know, we're just trying to branch out and see as much cool shit as possible. And I want to always get like cool artists too, like V. Ken Marin. He just did a Kickstarter that did like 50,000. He's doing some DC stuff. Did some Absolute Power stuff. And I got him to do a cover, and it's going to be fucking awesome.
Cool.
I'm so excited for it. I'm trying to get, you know, like, it's good to get those covers. I'm doing 4 covers on the next one. My rule's really 3. I was about to do 5. But I want to see if different, like, if you do put that bigger caliber person or 2 bigger caliber people on it, would it make a difference? And, you know, I think it will.
I don't know. I did 4 covers. And next issue, I'm just gonna do 2 covers. You know,
I did that. So that's so funny you said that. Like, so Omega 2090, 2 covers. You know, episode 2, 2 covers. Episode 3, 2 covers, and then it was now the last one we did 3, and this one I'm gonna do 4. But people bought a lot of 3 covers. You know, people like wanted all 3. So I also feel like
if you know, if like, because everything's an experiment. I'm trying to see what's working. If my Kickstarter and everybody's like, well, where's the next cover? Where's the next? You know, then I'll go back to 4. You know what I mean? But it looked to me 3 covers sold. My 4th cover is you know, it's on Indiegogo, and I only got 6 sales. You know what I mean? So I guess the Michael Gustovich cover is the rare one that I'll put on eBay for $100 a pop.
Yeah,
you know. But anyway,
I want to eventually do some CGC stuff with my things. I know people got my stuff slabbed, but you know, I definitely want my own. But it is $50 a hit, so it's just about, you know, like doing
I was talking last night that there's problems within the CGC company itself, you know, and there's like some gossip is coming out that, you know, we're seeing how the sausage is made and it's ruining people. But I'm with you. There's no way I'm not getting at least 1 slabbed Heroic Tales #1 of each cover for myself. You know, not to speculate. You know, like when I finally kick the bucket, my wife's going to take those 4 comics, put them in my hand. I'm going to be buried with them because those are my comics. Those, you know what I mean? Those are more like heirlooms than. So
that's what you would put in. You would put the comic books with you.
Yeah, why not?
I don't know what I'd put in. Be the best one, the best issue. I always felt like, you know, and I don't know what you think about this. Like, part of me like wanted me to put myself in the book as one of the characters and then just kill my guy like right away, like just for fun. But I don't like the whole self-insert thing. Or sometimes, you know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But like, I don't want people to think like I made the book for me, and that's why I would, like, if I did it, I would be someone that like dies.
It's funny.
Right?
People ask me like, "Oh, is the patriarch your self-insert?" I'm like, "Have you seen him?" I wish.
Guys, a 6-pack.
Yeah, I wish.
And
wish.
A cape.
Yeah.
And a cape.
Yeah. So I got it in issue 3. There's going to be a big, fat, disgusting Harvey Bullock type character. I go, that's my self-insert. So
yeah,
as my joke, this guy's going to be just disgusting. That's you. You want to sell for an insert? There you go. There you go.
And
but my friends at work are all asking me to be in my comic. So in issue 3, there's going to be like a Batman vigilante guy, and he's going to have henchmen. So all the henchmen are going to be my coworkers.
great thing to do too.
I said, you guys are going to get beat up really bad. I was like, George, your character's getting curb stomped.
So a great thing to do, which I recommend for you to do if you're getting people like that, is I do on a lot of the books you can pay and we make a custom character together and then I put it in the IP. That's what this double splash is. These 2 characters I made with 2 of my backers.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And then we did one on episode 2 as well, where it says thank you Kickstarter. It was like the same thing. Like all these guys got to be, their
cool,
characters.
cool.
Yeah. It's like an extra cool little thing, and I'll use them later down the line, maybe as like a cameo or something. Paul's issue 8 is where big creators notice his comic. Yes.
Oh, where's this?
Yeah. Or not even. Some people.
The 30s gangster character.
Nice.
This is my foreman. I didn't even tell him. I just told my this is my foreman. Put him in, and then afterwards, he was just like, "Oh, you're making a comic book, so are you going to put me in the comic?" And I showed him the picture. He goes, "You didn't even ask me." I was like, "Yeah, but now you're asking me. I already knew."
How's your neck? How's that all going?
It's been a while since we talked. I talked to the specialist. The specialist scared the crap out of me. She goes, how you have no idea how lucky you are. It's not just cracked. I mean, it's not just a hairline fracture. It's like shattered in a couple of places. So she says she doesn't want to do any surgery because what they got to do is like drill. She goes, pieces could come off. She goes, it could shatter. It could shatter my arteries. It could shatter my spinal column.
So what are you doing? What are you going to do?
She says, I was supposed to be out of this stupid collar by now. Originally, but the specialist ordered me to keep it on for another month. So I got another 2 weeks or so. And then we're going to do another scan. And hopefully it'll be healing enough that I could keep it off. But I can't go back to work yet. But if it still looks bad, then we got to do surgery. But she says it's risky. I got like really scared because I went out in the backyard. I took my chainsaw and I was cutting stuff up, because I was like, hey, it's healing. It's just a fracture. It's hairline fracture. And then after the specialist, I'm like, honey, will you pick up that napkin for me? I my neck is shattered. You know what I mean? I've been like,
I wouldn't. Yeah, don't play with your neck, bro.
Yeah. So I mean, my back room. I made a video a couple of weeks ago of me picking up boxes and stuff, and then after the specialist, those boxes are where I left them because
you don't want to. You don't want to crap out of
anything. Like I forget what song it was, but I don't mind dying, but I don't want to do the Christopher. I like Superman, but I don't want to do the Christopher Reeves.
Yeah, bro, it's fucking no joke. Your neck, bro. You know what I mean? Like it's your fucking neck. You need that.
Yeah. So that's thank you for asking. But the worst part is, this is my 3rd month no pay. The insurance just called me today. They need one more thing before they always need one more thing before they could distribute the cash that they owe me. One more thing, and then so I've just been sitting here reading comics. I mean, I'm catching up with a lot of comics. I've been playing solo board games, but I'm going to start. Paul, when you come to New York, we'll come down here. We'll play a board game.
Okay.
That's my buddies come over. Like tonight, they came over. They brought pizza. We played board games for a while. Just to.
Yeah, I had a knee surgery 2 years ago, and that sucked. So I get it. You need your knees. My left knee. I blew it out doing squats.
Well, that's why you shouldn't exercise. Just sit and read comics all day, man.
No. I go crazy though, and I still go crazy. Like I'm definitely because I'm getting married in November.
I thought you were married already. Congratulations.
I tell everyone we're married. We have a kid, so we're married. But we're officially married in November. We're doing a nice thing. 30 of my family members flying out somewhere. It's gonna be cool. And
is she gonna
excited? I had to get in really good shape.
Yeah, you dress up like Omega. She dressed up like Hellcat, and then you get a superhero wedding.
Oh, so ready? Hellsate.
Oh, how do you say it?
Hellsate.
Hellsate. Okay.
Because she's hell, dude. So that one I can actually give you. Hesate was like, it was like a demon type thing from like Greek mythology, I'm pretty sure. Or it was Jewish mythology. But then I changed it to Hellsate. It's my IP now, baby. You know what I mean? So
I was busting Paul's chops about some of the names of his characters, and he,
Yeah, it's like they're not related, and I'm like, that's the point, dude.
I'm
They're
a stickler.
No, but like Odysseus is like, what's a cool name? You know what I mean? It's like, what would I be? I'm Odysseus. Like, it's like I didn't want to do Zeus. I wanted to do like Titans. And I liked Odysseus. A lot of people wanted him alive. But that's the whole.
I didn't
point.
want to spoil that, but I was saying you can make
one.
you could make a book one. I didn't want to spoil it, but that would be a good comic with Odysseus and Gaia. You could talk about why, because obviously there is some sort of problem with these early heroes in your comic, and that would be a I don't know.
Yeah,
you could go to town showing how. And again, you don't want to be the boys, but like, I think by the time you make a comic like that, we'll understand these aren't the heroes.
Definitely Gaia was a hero. And I'll give you that one. But there's certain of them that are like that were definitely involved. With what goes on. And it's all politics. Everyone plays all sides, or people don't stand up for who they really are because they're afraid to get dropped by their party, etc. It would be the same thing with superheroes.
Right.
But yeah, I definitely want to dabble with that. There's so many cool things I can do, and that's why I like having my own world to play with and destroy. Because that would honestly be like the first thing I would do with Marvel or DC is make something really cool and destroy it. Because that's what stories are for, man. We got to build these characters. Like that's what I'm saying. Like each of these characters have, who they're supposed to be, and they're definitely none of them are not there yet, except for Crimson Pain. So like they all need to get to that point to be their full character, and I want to make sure they have that. Each character to have their beginning, middle, and end to their character, like or who they are or where they die. Die by the shield.
All right. Well, it's late for me, even though I'm off work. I'm still.
Yeah, I'm leaving at 5 a.m. to go to Baltimore.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right, Baltimore. I haven't been to Baltimore in like 30 years. But anyway, it's good talking to you, man. I'm glad I finally read the comics. That they were a lot better than I thought they were going to be.
I thought they were going to be whack. He was like, they suck.
Well, I don't know. I of course I'm rooting for them. I mean, like. I bought the comics. I want them to be good, but they were better than my expectations. I really enjoyed them because my thing about superhero comics, I'm like, they got to be set in the present. They mean the patriotic guy, but you did everything different than me, but it was good, and I really liked it. I said it's the best about Image, except good writing, the good storytelling. I don't even know. I don't mean this to sound like an insult, but I don't even know if you realize how good your storytelling is, because it's almost like I think you get it. Either you study it or you get it. I think you just get it, because your stories they just flow, and they get better and better and better. Like I could tell the last thing you wrote was that issue 4 with the Omega 2090. Yeah. It's you get better with the characters. You get better with the motivations.
No. Omega 2090 was my third book.
What's that?
That was the third book I made.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So I did Omega, and then he went to episode 2 because I want exactly what you wanted. It was just the part of like, there's so much things going on. Like I wanted to tell a different story, so you knew more about these characters before I fucking cause havoc. Episode 4 was the latest one I wrote, and actually this episode 4 was not in the Project Naosis script a year ago.
Well, you're evolving. Yeah, you come up with another idea. And you got so many ideas that you're like, I want to do this, but there's only so much time and resources. It's we don't have it in just we don't have Marvel behind us to help us do all this. But Ed, you're doing good, man. I'm rooting for you.
But we do have you to support my Kickstarter. Make sure you follow that pre-launch because we need you, and you're going to see tons of more content. If I got 9 books with our small following growing, imagine if we had you.
Yep. There you go. Click on this link, and this will take you to his Kickstarter page. I'm rooting for you. Maybe I'll see you in a couple of weeks when you come to Babylon.
October, I think it's October 5th.
Okay. Yeah, I'll still be home. All right. See you guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.